Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for showing up today. And I am just honored and so grateful that I get to spend this time with each of you today. I already see some ladies from our group on here. Thank you for coming. And I am excited to share the 5 simple steps that I used and still use even to this day to move out of a state of anxiety, because we do sometimes relapse into those bad thoughts or feelings, but then to move back into a life of vibrancy and hope and joy and peace. And those are the things that I really want to help each of you to accomplish and have in your life. We are going to spend 45 minutes to an hour today, and I'm going to share some great things that you can take right away and put an action plan into place. So I want you to take some notes, grab a pad of paper and a pen, take some notes. I have ice water. I'm from Arizona, and so it's going to be 99 today, but we've already hit 106 and it's dry. So you'll hear me sipping water throughout. I hope you are too, or a nice cup of tea. And then what I'd like to do is set a bit of an agenda. We're going to talk about a little bit about my story and how and why I do what I do. I want to share a little bit about my passion for other women and how I have been very blessed to help other widows. And then we'll move right into the steps. More importantly, throughout, we're going to talk about steps, again, that you can put into action right away. So before we get started, I always like to extend my condolences to each and every one of you. Losing your life partner, your husband, your other half is not an easy road to travel on. But the good news is you don't have to do it alone. So I'm really, really glad that you're here. I'm going to pop myself off the screen and switch over, and we'll get started. Okay. So the 5 simple steps, this is what I created to help widows, just like myself, to break free from anxiety and move into vitality. And there's a reason that I created Renegade Widow. Is simply, as hard as I tried, I just did not fit into my previous world anymore. With an inordinate amount of loss in my immediate family, from the time I was a teenager, I've learned a lot about grief and a lot about just trudging forward. But the problem with trudging and just surviving is often we don't take the time that we need to process the grief, and then we end up stuck. I know that's not a foreign term to any of us here on this call, and that's not a place that we want to be. Thankfully, but even regrettably, I got to the point where I had no choice but to just take complete and utter care of myself after my husband passed away. My name is Terry Ann Muller, and from the time I was 15 years old, my losses have been numerous, and I had very deep-seated pain. I'm really passionate about helping others to manage their grief while stepping into their own confident, independent life. As a certified coach, I specialize in helping widows feel empowered to embrace a new way of life and to achieve their personal dreams and goals. I'm here to walk you towards your new confident self, and I bet that's why you're here too, or you wouldn't have signed up. Because of so much loss in my close family, I've spent years, in spite of those tragedies, working on my personal development, learning as much as I could to become strong and to manage all of the sorrow that my family and I have endured. I'm here to help you move from fear and move into hope and to enjoy a life with purpose and passion. Life is too short. We all know that. I'm here to help you attract loving, supportive relationships that you feel good about and that you allow in your life. And I want you to get off the emotional roller coaster so that you can feel confident in making decisions and moving forward in your life, and to purposefully move your life in a new direction so that you can stop feeling lost and fearful and instead learn to be brave and bold. And I want you to believe in yourself. I promise you've got this, girl. I'm here to help. So I'm guessing the reason that you're here is you've been through hell and your life has changed in a big way. Your current self is craving vibrancy and joy, but you lack the energy or even the clarity and don't know how to get going. As a new widow, I spent many days that turned into months laying on the couch. My appetite was just poor, and all I could do was eat comfort food, which was mostly junk food. I started to realize I had to make some changes. I just didn't know where to start. And I think you're here because you miss your former self. So the good news I mentioned right away earlier is that you're not alone. Thank you for being here today. Together, we'll walk through 5 easy steps to help you renew your passions and redesign yourself into the vibrant woman that you know that you can still be. Pat yourself on the back for showing up today and say out loud, there is hope for me. I do deserve a happy, bright future. Here's the thing, you took vital time just to show up, and that's an amazing effort. So good job on that. Pat yourself on the back. I can help you reclaim balance and peace in your life. I know that's a bold statement, but I can teach you what I've learned. Together, we can get your old happy self back, but also redesign who you want to be. This might very well be the first time that you've ever been able to focus solely on yourself and not have, not a moment too soon. Am I right? I'm not here to sell you anything, but if you stay until the end of this webinar, I do have a very special gift just for you. And we have some fun things coming. Renegade Widow is for women who have endured the devastation of losing their husband. They're open and committed to recover, reclaim, and redesign their life. And I say this with a heavy emphasis on the word committed. It does take commitment and motivation, but you can do it. And I'm telling you, if I could, anybody can. You're in the right place if you're ready for deep healing, amazing personal growth and transformation. You desire to be happy again, to feel excited when you start your day, and to develop new relationships. Just give it time. Oh, that coined phrase has always been off-putting to me. But the interesting thing is, it's kind of true. Time doesn't heal all wounds, but all wounds take time to heal. Time doesn't change the fact that we miss our husbands, not at all. But the truth is, when we give the loss its due with grief and all the attention that we need to give it, that is what prepares us and helps us to be healthy and ready to step into new beginnings. And ladies, I'm telling you, this new life has no place for guilt or shame. This new life comes with the permission to keep looking forward. I'm guessing you're here. You might be one of the women I talk to. Many women tell me they have a hard time cooking for just one, or even harder if you have children that you need to cook for, or how disappointed that you feel when the old gang gets together, but you never got your invite. That's the worst. And, like me, might be turning to bad habits to temporarily soothe your fraught nerves. I'm telling you, that was me. It's totally normal. It wasn't just me. It's everybody I talk to. But it still sucks. There's so many consistencies in widowhood. It really is remarkable. And while they all hurt, it does help to know that we're not alone. Have you been experiencing stress and anxiety over making even the smallest decisions? Aware of the toll that it's taking on your health, your work, and your relationships? Possibly sleeping poorly and feel tired most of the time? Life is hard enough. When you add widowhood into the mix, life gets really tough, really fast. You know all too well how short life can be. Not everyone will be receptive to working on their fear and anxiety, but there are certainly people who are aware and ready. At night, when I would fall exhausted into bed, I was instantly wide awake. It was as if a disco lit up inside of me, and it went on like this night after night. I woke up feeling exhausted every single day, and I know I'm not the only one. You might be here because you have a desire to move forward with a new intentional life. So what does it mean to be intentional? It's when you make a conscious effort to be present and calm in your day. You find new ways to exert your strength and begin to redesign your world exactly how you want it. I used to think I was too old to get out and have fun. I mean, real fun, like driving the go-karts or going dancing. But I realized age is just a number. I don't care if you're 25 or 75. We all crave fun and laughter. And it's just so darn good for us. My clients find comfort knowing that they're not alone and that there is hope in learning the method I used to move from anxiety to vitality and to regain balance and peace in my life. It wasn't easy, and as I said before, my life's been full of one bumpy road after another, but thankfully I didn't give up. It would have been so easy at that time. I was determined instead to find my happy place, even with new tragedy and hardships that continued to occur. Here's the thing, when you own your part, when you're committed, you will gain a sense of control. You will feel connected to your true self. You can become acquainted with your personal boundaries and enjoy authentic relationships. And you'll gain clarity about what needs to happen next. You'll enhance your awareness of how you can change your life and take charge. When you learn to be centered and connected with yourself, it will serve you and those that you love more than anything you can imagine. You'll learn to love your new energy and joy. When you make yourself a priority, you intentionally indulge in what expands you and energizes you. People will notice that you've made a shift and they'll be happy for you. And the ones that are not happy, well, they're not going to hold the control over you that they once had. Remember that people only have the power over you that you give them. You'll learn to increase your happiness. You'll look and feel better. Your soul will be rejuvenated. Now, on the other hand, this may not be ideal for you if you're looking for someone to magically fix you. There's no magic fairy dust. If you stay on the fence too long, you'll always choose your comfort zone over expansion into what seems scary, but so exciting and so well worth the time and the effort. This also might not be ideal for you if you're not action-oriented, or you're not open to the idea that change is even possible, or you're just not ready for a change yet. So a little bit about me, real quick. My first year as a widow, I felt so vulnerable. I was angry, scared, and fearful. I guess those are the same thing, but that's what I was. Now, 6 years after my husband's death, I realize how much support I did not have during his illness and following his death. That first year, I suffered with all over body pain. I was exhausted all of the time. I was a ghost of my former self. I didn't know how to say no to my kids, to other family members, or even friends. I felt empty and alone, and anxiety was my constant companion. My mind and body were wrecked from the trauma of being the primary caregiver of a cancer patient, and along with all of its ugliness. But then, after about a year, I began to have renewed interest and the desire to live again. I knew I had to do something before my life passed me by. I had an urgency so deep to recover and move past all of the sadness. I was desperate for some normalcy, but I just didn't know how to get there. So that's why I'm a coach. I've created what I wish I would have had when my husband passed. If you've ever tried to overcome a particular challenge, but you found you didn't have the ability to go it alone, or have ever felt like you were just in complete overwhelm, I know exactly how that feels. I used to feel the same way. In fact, we might have more in common than you think. As time goes by, you'll see similarities that only widows share. So the transformation roadmap. The marvelous transformation I experienced inspired what I'm about to share with you. When I was a child, I didn't dream about being a nurse or a teacher. I didn't want to be an astronaut. All I knew was I wanted to be a difference maker, to help others to be, do, and have more. That's why I'm so honored and grateful to get to work with you ladies. My own transformation was so profound, I couldn't keep it to myself. It didn't happen overnight though. It took a lot of lumps to get where I am today. And here's what I've learned. Long-term suffering is optional. Ladies, if you only have one takeaway today, write this down. Long-term suffering is optional. I learned I can make an intentional choice and choose new beginnings, and I'm telling you that you can too. I was able to move from sadness, fear, and self-doubt into healing, expansion, and empowerment. And now because of that work, I'm able to enjoy a full, happy life. I know that you can too. I'm able to enjoy a life filled with dreams and goals that I'm consistently working on and achieving. So after this webinar, you'll walk away with action steps that will help you start to recover, reclaim, and redesign your life to feel joy and confidence today. So sit tight, keep an open mind, and stay until the end. I promise there's a lot of good information that you can use immediately, and also stay until the end. As I said, I have a very special gift just for you. It's getting hot in Arizona today. All right, so step number 1, set your boundaries. This was probably the toughest one for me. I had no boundaries, zero zilch. I was a wounded and tired shell of my former self. Here's the thing, when you learn to set limits, you protect your self-esteem, you maintain your self-respect, you enjoy healthy relationships. Boundaries are sounding pretty sexy right now, aren't they? Conversely, lacking boundaries can lead to emotional pain. God, who needs more emotional pain? I don't. Poor confidence. Your life feels like it's in constant chaos. Your soul feels like it's getting further and further depleted, and that causes even more anxiety. And we also resort to poor eating and drinking habits. Without boundaries or structure in your life, you are full of self-doubt. I know I was. In that state, we tend to eat poorly, using food for our only comfort or worse. For me, that meant packing on 35 pounds, and that sure did not help matters at all. So setting boundaries are essential to being emotionally healthy, feeling empowered, allowing more joy in your life, and feeling vibrant and whole again. When we feel this new hope, it becomes our new obsession. Feeling good and happy and having hope is intoxicating in a really healthy way. It takes your eyes off of your past and your sorrow and puts your eyes looking forward and finding pleasure in the small moments, such as a butterfly or a hummingbird or a big fat white puffy cloud that looks like a dinosaur. Silly things are good things, and learn to enjoy the small things. Here's what is really important to know and internalize. You cannot be all things or do all things for all people. If we don't take care of ourselves, we absolutely cannot be any good for the ones that we love. We have to put ourselves first. That's a new concept for many of you. It was for me. I raised 5 kids and took care of 2 cancer patients, not just one, my mom also. And yeah, so putting myself first was a brand new concept. We're going to talk more about that. So how do you take charge? How do you know what boundaries to set? And for the love of Pete, how do you keep them? My good girlfriend Becky said to me one time, Terry Ann, you are really good at setting boundaries, but you're horrible at keeping them. That was such a pivotal moment for me. I decided right then and there that I was going to change that immediately. And it can be for you too. It was just a mindset shift. Not only was I hurting myself, but ultimately I was hurting others by allowing them to behave in an unhealthy way. So it's just small, simple actions. Practice self-awareness, respect yourself, and it's okay to be direct and honest. Determine what you're willing to tolerate. When you're clear in your mind, you'll know what you want to allow in your life and what is harmful for you. You'll begin to feel empowered and love yourself as you master this art. I was amazed when my life began to shift into a state of joy after being in such a dark period. It had been so long and my journey had been so arduous. And even with additional tragedy and more hard knocks, I refused to let newfound joy go. And frankly, the power I had gotten a taste of, I kept my eye on the prize of a fulfilling life. It doesn't mean that we're immune to the hardballs life throws at us, but it does mean that we can be stronger. And step number 2, giving yourself grace. Some of you may or may not know what that means. There's times that we see peaks of hope, and then without any warning, we get triggered or we have a bad day or even a bad week. The fact of our loss never goes away. What I want to teach each of you is how to give the sadness or other feelings its space. Take time to unpack it from a place of strength and not of sheer paralyzing fear. That is just not a way to live. So why is grace so important? Well, we all know that time marches on, whether we are miserable or whether we are happy. Prolonged unhappiness can further deplete our soul. Giving yourself grace can ignite a small, smoldering fire of hope that will grow exponentially. When you give yourself grace, you make room for expansion into the new, happy life that you want. You've been through the worst part of grief. Allow yourself to honor your emotions. You can take and find a way to keep moving forward. Fill for a time, let's say an hour or a day, or whatever you feel you need. If you're new in widowhood, it's going to take longer. It took me a little over a year before I started wanting to kind of take myself back under my own wing and nurture myself. You'll know when you're able to pick back up and keep moving forward. Prolonged unhappiness is not good for anyone. So again, I'm so glad you're here. When we don't give ourselves grace, we feel anxiety, pressure, we feel guilt for what we're doing, we feel guilt for what we're not doing. It's just a vicious cycle. I tell you, just last week I had some pretty deep anxiety rear its head. And yes, it still happens. What I was trying to do is bury it though and not face it. I didn't take time and I didn't face it in the healthy way that I know works. Then all of a sudden the light bulb popped on. I remembered I needed to step back, give this anxiety the space that it needed. I took some time to see what I actually had control over. And sure enough, I was able to move on in my day, feeling more calm, more centered. It's when we leave matters unaddressed and we leave them playing in the back of our head that the endless chatter just wears us down to a nub. I'm telling you, I was there. I had to give myself grace when I relapsed into a bad habit of stuffing my anxiety. And like I would tell each of you or a good girlfriend, it's okay. Pick yourself back up. Don't beat yourself up for relapsing into a bad habit and just start fresh. Grace is when you tell yourself it's okay to have a bad day, but it's also okay to be happy. Widows are notorious for feeling guilty when they laugh or realize they're having fun. We just covered this in our Renegade Widow group a week or two ago. For you to know it's okay to be great. Your husband would want you to be happy, am I right? He doesn't want you to be in constant turmoil and angst and anxiety. I know that he'd be happy that you're here right now and that he's pleased that you're taking care of yourself. So I think my definition of grace can also be positive self-talk. Instead of saying, well, I'm always anxious, or well, I'm having a bad day. No, turn it around and say out loud, I am able to work through any situation. I'm in a good place to start new. Literally, right now, today, don't look at the past and what you have or have not done. You can start anew today. And today, I'm a badass. I'm here right now doing this webinar in spite of everything that happened, and I'm a badass. I'm pretty proud of myself, actually. Anyway, there's such power in the spoken word. Saying simple words to manifest a better mindset is super effective. Even if you don't believe it at first, do it anyway. Have you ever heard the expression, fake it until you make it? Well, sometimes that's what it takes. Say the words out loud and you'll begin to believe it. You will be absolutely amazed, and I want you to email me and let me know what you think about it. You'll be amazed at the difference you feel immediately. It takes practice, but in a fun way. Being mindful of your words is so powerful, and you deserve it. Most of all, ladies, I want you to believe in yourself. So many of us feel completely alone and scared in early widowhood. One gal in our group said, I used to never be afraid of anything, but now that my husband's gone, I'm afraid of everything. And it's so true, and it's so normal. But we do have the ability to believe in ourselves and to choose hope over defeat. It does take time for your mind to shift, but never ever stop believing in you. It's like muscle memory. You use it or you lose it. So create some positivity and give yourself some grace. The other thing I want to mention, and I realize I need to add a picture in this slide deck, is my beautiful granddaughter, Charlie Ann. Her middle name is Grace. So anyway, if any of you are on my page, you know that I love my baby girl. She's so sweet. She brings me joy, and I'm happy and grateful that I'm healthy for her, and I get to spend time with her and be a positive influence in her life. So step number 3, love yourself. Do you even know what that means? I didn't. I was so busy taking care of everybody else. But I learned through my own coach that loving myself was absolutely integral into becoming the woman that I always wanted to be. This is where we really begin to find power in our actions, thoughts, and words. You learn to prioritize yourself and to nurture yourself into better physical, mental, and spiritual health, which all boost your confidence. It is overused, but it gets the point across. There is a reason that the flight attendants tell us in their safety talk to put our air mask on first before we try to help others. If we are not operating from a place of health, but rather from defeat, we're no good to anyone, not to mention ourselves, our family, our friends, everybody. So when you prioritize yourself, it will increase clarity and mindfulness about what you desire and what energizes you. You'll learn to make better and more confident decisions so that you can feel good about where you're going. Ignoring your personal needs diminishes your mind, body, and soul. It can cause poor sleep. We experience a lousy appetite, or we binge eat on junk, and keeps you stuck and increases your anxiety. When we feel depleted for long periods of time, it's so hard to find hope or joy or believe for anything good when we're that run down. It's hard to keep going or have the desire to live. We begin to accept that life is going to suck from then on. You know what, ladies? That's not good. It's not true. It doesn't have to be your story. It's so unhealthy to go on this way, beat down in every aspect of your existence. On the other hand, a positive mindset will increase your energy and joy for a happier life. It'll help you to look and feel better for overall confidence. It'll help you to have and keep healthy boundaries. Learn how to set them and keep them. Move yourself into a place of expansion and vibrancy, and motivate you to try new activities and make new friends. It takes only baby steps, one step at a time, to get started on a more positive journey. I was so grateful and so pleasantly surprised when my life started to shift so effortlessly. But here's what I know. Learning to speak love and light into your day makes all the difference. If you feel down, angry, or have anxiety, take a minute, write this down, and put it on your refrigerator. Say it out loud. I am strong, I am smart, I am beautiful and kind, and I will have a good day. So take and write it down. Put your affirmations around your house, in your car, at your desk, on the fridge. I cannot emphasize how powerful this is. As your mind and body and spirit become stronger, your confidence rises. You'll feel energized, happier, and gain a much, much missed sense of control. This is where the magic starts to happen. And again, it's where we feel super motivated to keep going in the right direction. We feel excited about trying new things or creating a new hobby and creating new routines in our life. This is where we sign up for the 5K like I did. It was so fun. I met new friends and it felt so darn good to cross that finish line. And I'm telling you, I ran for about maybe 25% of the 5K. I'm just not a runner, so I walked instead. I was so proud of myself. And I know that you can have those feelings too. When you feel in control of your life and emotions, everything is better. So, Ellie, when I started working with her, I was able to help her find small positives in her life. She felt so beat down. She was having a hard time with her adult kids, trying to run her life, treating her poorly, taking advantage of her. She didn't feel confident in making decisions and anything that she did in her life. She just was feeling hopeless. But I was able to teach her and encourage her and give her tips through my program for small changes each day that she began to have more confidence. She was able to set boundaries with her kids. She learned how to keep them. She set some goals and even went to Europe with a new friend that she had met at a social event. And you're probably wondering if it was a man. I'll tell you at the end. Just stay until the end and I will let you know. Step number 4, practicing self-awareness. What does that even mean? You'll be able to learn how to be mindful and more in tune with how you feel long before the meltdown, long before the fight, or whatever else blindsides you before you know what hit you. It's a wonderful tool to have in your tool belt. So, self awareness helps you to recognize and honor your feelings to reduce mood swings. It helps you to pay attention and be aware to your boundaries to create peace and harmony in your life. And you notice when you're not giving yourself grace, you fall back into second guessing yourself. On the other hand, when you're centered and you enjoy the feeling of level thinking and contentment and confidence, you will feel so much better about yourself. So ask yourself this: if I keep living my life exactly the way I am right now, am I going to be okay? Or ask yourself, what if I don't change anything? What would happen? Or what if I do? What if you do? Take your pad and paper out and spend some time to reflect and jot down 2 to 3 things you would do if you were brave and bold instead of afraid. What if you could start towards those things now? Ask yourself, is it okay to change for the better? How does that even feel? Widows often are fearful of moving forward because they think that they will forget their husband or people will judge them. You guys already know how I feel about others that judge us. I choose not to give them the power, and so they don't have it, and you can too. When you put yourself first, you will enjoy healthy relationships, you will have a happier life, you will attract better people and things into your life that expand you rather than shrink you. Your decision making is easier. You get clear on where you want to go in life. When I became a widow, the majority of my so-called friends fell away. I just did air quotes. And you know what? It hurt, but now I see that it truly was for the best and my overall well-being. You will know soon enough who your true friends are. And you're probably thinking of people now that have kind of abandoned you. You know what? It's never too late to meet new people, and it's okay. You get to be a little bit pickier. You get to spend time with people that make you feel good to be with them. And you talk about empowerment. That is huge. You get to decide where you want to be in a year from now. You take charge, take life by the reins, and reach some of those goals. When something doesn't feel right, ask yourself, okay, something's not feeling good. What's changed? What just shifted in my mood? Go back to the question, what do I have control over? It is hard to realize and kind of hard to accept, but once we do, it is so powerful to know we can only control one person, and that's ourselves, not one other person. End of story. Now, if you have kids that are under 18, then yes, they need to be parented. But if you have adult kids, they don't get to control you. You can't control them. You take life by the reins. When you accept that you have no control over anyone else, it really frees you up to take care of yourself. I want you to learn to hop off of the insanity train. Know your limits. As you become more self-aware, you will instinctively know how to move away from a feeling or a situation. You pay attention to how you spend your time, who you spend your time with. Do these things energize you? Do these people drain you? You have a choice about what or who you allow in your life. So go back to giving yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up when you relapse into a bad habit or something goes wrong. Just gently lead yourself back to your secure, mindful self. And step number 5, my very favorite step, find your joy, find your bliss. This is one, it is so important to me to feel happy. And that's why I surround myself around people that I love and that I love to be with and that expand me, and I get to expand them, and we nurture each other. That's what a healthy relationship is all about. So once you find your joy, you learn to navigate that. And again, what to allow in your life. Joy is one of the gifts that we can delight in every single day. There's so many small moments that we can tap into that bring us joy. It's when we open ourselves up that we really recognize the happy moments. If you let a beautiful flower warm your heart, take notice of something that a child does, and be happy. Enjoy the wonder of that childlike mind. Take some of that upon yourself and just have fun. Be silly, sing in the shower, dance in the living room when nobody's watching. Give it a try. It's so fun. But learn to drop into your heart space. You have been on a very hard road, and I hope that you don't want this time to have been for nothing. Are you able to turn your time of grief and sadness into one of transformation? It is easy to get caught up in wearing our grief like a badge, but that doesn't have to be the end of the story. It is good to be hopeful and to want more out of life. It's okay to let yourself be hopeful and happy again. So the big change, what if you choose not to struggle, live in fear, or feel stuck the rest of your life? How does that feel to you? How did that just make you feel to think about that? We really do only have 2 choices. Many widows just choose that stuck path. Uncertainty feels more comfortable than taking charge and moving forward. And people don't make change until the pain is worse than changing. So open your eyes to your situation and decide what it is that you're willing to continue to do and what you're not willing to continue to do. Finding your bliss. I love that. Think about what lights you up. What gives you that little race in your heart in a good way? Spend some time today, and you have hopefully your pad of paper and your pen out right now. And when we're finished, take time to write down 10 things that you've always wanted to do, but for one reason or another, you just haven't. It can be you're busy raising kids or busy, working or whatever. We each know all too well how short life really is. Be the one that says, I'm so glad I did, and not the one that says, I wish I had. Let yourself shine. Grab that bliss and let it be part of your life. But be in the moment. You'll learn how to center yourself and be present. Not to think too far in the future because that causes anxiety, but to be intentional in your actions so that you feel good and grounded. It helps you to enjoy yourself, and over time, with practice, you'll master the art of being present. Of course, plan for your future in a healthy way, but if and when fear does creep in, tackle it head on, figure out what's going on to cause you this unease, and take care of it. Manage it, deal with it, process it. So set your goals and planning for the future with intention. You absolutely will love your newfound energy and renewed hope. This new way of thinking will become your new crush. Be happy for you. Become your primary focus. It will help everything else fall into place. So, the Vitality Blueprint recap. Let's talk about what we just went over. So, setting your boundaries, learning and recognizing what energizes you and what shrinks you. Set your boundaries around that and learn to keep them confidently, comfortably. Just manage yourself and your boundaries. We can talk more about that later. That's a good one. Also, give yourself grace. We all fall back into bad habits, and we wish that, we would have handled the situation differently, or we weren't sucked in. I heard a thing one time, never get in a fight with a pig because you're both going to get dirty and one of you is going to like it. But sometimes we're just drawn into situations with our adult kids or with other family members. Don't let them draw you in. You're going to really, really love your new confidence and your inner peace. This really, really plays into the next piece, is loving yourself. Love yourself enough to take the chance of being happy. Practice self-awareness. Just, again, absolutely, when you're running and gunning and you're trying to get out the door and things are happening and you just feel so off kilter, just take a minute, breathe in and breathe out, and just center yourself. Lastly, finding your joy. That's so important, ladies. It's so important so that you can live your life out in a happy state. So you've got three choices. You can stay on the roller coaster and endure sleepless nights, listen to mindless chatter and fight anxiety. That doesn't sound like any fun. Or you can implement the 5 steps on your own, make some positive changes and hopefully make them stick, or work with me and I can help you to design a roadmap to live the life of your dreams. At this point, I hope you've been inspired and have some new tools in your tool belt. Hopefully some of this resonates with you and you took lots of good notes. I can help you face the unknown and empower you to mindfully steer yourself in a new direction. You can make a difference in your life and you deserve it. I can help you move from feeling stuck and scared to reclaiming, renewing, and redesigning your life. That's got to sound really good to you, ladies, or I don't think that you would be on this call. So Lori is another client. She wanted to find herself again. She wanted to stop feeling guilty about wanting to move forward in life and to be happy again. She was determined to work through all of her issues. I helped her to understand that her husband would be happy for her as she created this new life. And she learned to work through the issues to find new joy and feel secure. And as an independent woman, she was able to create new relationships. She's fully committed to working on herself for the first time in her life. And it's made such a huge difference for her and for her kids, her career, her health, and making new friends. All positives. Again, I mentioned earlier at the start of our time together, I told you that if you stayed until the end, I had a very special gift for you. I'm opening up my calendar to offer you a free 50-minute breakthrough call to help you to implement the steps that we just covered today. And you're probably wondering why I'd spend all this time doing this. Remember also when I said I always wanted to be a difference maker? And again, it wasn't a teacher, it wasn't an astronaut, not a doctor or a nurse. This is my way of giving back to the universe. This is a rewarding way that I get to do my life's work, and I love doing it. So here's what you can do. Because you guys are so important to me and making a difference is my mission, it also means that I do have limited slots available. So go quickly, schedule your breakthrough call. You go to my website, www.renegadewidow.com. Along the toolbar, you're going to see a link that says schedule a call. When you click into that, it'll take you right to my calendar. You can choose a date and a time that works for you. And I do believe I had something cancel. I have to check my calendar, but I saw something come through. I had a reschedule, and so I think I've got a slot or two open this afternoon still. So quickly go over there and get your free call scheduled so that we can chat on the phone about some of the things that we've covered today and your future. So it's a good idea for you to schedule a call if you feel uncertain and fearful about your future. You absolutely want to allow this time to be a grand turning point in your life, but you know you need a compassionate guide who can relate to you on so many levels and be your accountability partner, but only and always with love and compassion. You know this painful time has the potential to make you or break you. It's interesting how our mindsets dictate how we see ourselves, our life, and others around us. Now, this is important. I'm going to tell you this call is not for you if you are stuck in denial with no desire to move forward. You need to stay there for a time, and sometimes that's okay. You're not ready to move forward. So this call is not for you if that's the situation that you're in. It's not for you if you're struggling with moderate to severe depression or substance abuse. It's so normal to show signs of depression, situational depression, when we face such a hard time. However, I am not a doctor, I'm a coach. If you need a doctor first, go do it. You're the priority. I want you to do what you need to do when you need it. And this is also not for you if you're not willing to give your all, that commitment that I spoke of earlier, to deeply healing your wounded spirit and creating a whole new life. So on the breakthrough call, we'll talk about you and your situation. I'll help you find ways to apply the 5 steps to your life. We'll talk about the Renegade Widow program and redesigning widowhood, and if it's a good fit for you. If we both decide together that we want to work with each other, it has to be a mutual agreement, we can begin right away. But if it's not a good fit, my promise to you is that I will give you 100% my best effort to help you start on the steps that we talked about. If you decide you want to keep going it on your own, that's absolutely okay. I don't ever want you to feel pressured or do something that doesn't feel right for you. But just know you don't have to have it all figured out today to move forward. Just take the next step. Taking the first step is always the hardest, but is the absolute only way to get you to the next step. So ask yourself if you're going to call. Do you want to get help and get the most out of your new life? I can give you tools to achieve a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle. I will support you with compassion, wisdom, laughter, and encouragement. Very likely, quite possibly, some tears. But here's the thing, ladies, my mission is to move you forward and keep the past in a healthy place with honor and not consuming you, just like I did. My mission is to change the world one widow at a time by giving you hope and strength and confidence and empowerment. Lao Tzu says, I love this quote, a journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. You can believe for hope or not. There's really no gray area here. It's either one or the other. If you're choosing hope and need an accountability partner to get you from being stuck, fearful, and you are battling self-doubt and to move into hope and confidence, joy and peace, then book your call. We'll talk about where you are now and where you want to be. And if it makes sense and we both agree we'd like to move forward and work together, we can talk about what that looks like My program is only for women who are 100% committed to getting out of the struggle and getting into a more confident life full of vibrancy. I don't work with clients that are on the fence. It doesn't serve anyone well. And having said that, there is never ever any pressure to work with me. I'm selective with who I work with, and you should be too. So sign up for your discovery call in the next 60 minutes for a second special, very special gift. We're offering this for the next 60 minutes only. It's for fast action. We take this really serious because we find our best success stories come from action takers. Let's do this kind of women. And I've always been a fire, aim kind of girl. Not too long after Mark passed away, I called the hospice company that we used. One of my close friends, Becky, I mentioned her earlier. She was the executive director at the time, and they still laugh at what I said to this day. When I called, I said, what are the top 3 things I can do right now to feel better? Well, of course, we all know it doesn't work that way. But as soon as I could, I went to work to recover, reclaim, and redesign my life. So if you're one of those women, or you used to be and want to be again, get online and book your call, www.renegadewidow.com. Spaces are limited. I really want to make sure that I give you my 100% devotion. And so I've got some limited spaces. I also, if you're not, and I know that there are some that are on our group, in our group right now that are on here, but if you're not, you'll be invited to join our private Renegade Widow Facebook group. And it's a judgment-free zone where you can build amazing relationships and the intimate community of women that get you and have been in your shoes, or similar shoes anyway. So the fast action bonuses do go away. Be that hells yeah woman. Mel Robbins talks about how we can talk ourselves out of anything in 5 seconds or less. If anything that we covered today resonates with you, if you want to help get started and you want to be bold and brave, then get on and book the call. There's nothing that can hurt you on that call. I'm super easy to approach. One last thing, for booking your call in the next hour, I have one more very special bonus gift for you. And lastly, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. I hope to see you on the other side. Take care, ladies. God bless, and have a beautiful day. I look forward to talking with each and every one of you.